Hey, Travis. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good.
Good.
How are you?
Doing great.
Awesome. Here we are.
We are.
Sit down and finally have a quiet chat, right?
Right? Yeah, it's different for us. We're used to being on the other side of the camera.
Right. Yep. I bet you, between us, we've probably done 1,000 filming sessions already.
Oh yeah.
With you doing about 999 of them.
Oh, dude, you've probably done more than I have.
Oh man.
Like I tend to work on bigger projects that take longer rather than shorter projects,
Yeah.
and doing a lot of them. And
Yeah.
but
We have fun here, though. We have a good time.
Yeah.
The studio is our home here for a little bit longer.
yeah, definitely.
Not too much longer.
No,
But-
soon we'll have the new space.
Yep. Which is exciting. Which is great. It's a nice, comfortable room to be in. I mean, I feel comfortable. It's Saturday morning, right?
Right? Yeah, the fact that we have the ability to just come and like relax
Yes.
and just work on our own stuff and everything, like that's nice.
It's huge.
Yeah, man.
Yep, I know. I feel like Wellness Way is definitely, it brought us together here and is grown us since we've been together, and it's been a pretty short time.
Yeah.
Again, I've been here 7 months. You've been here.
I started a month after you did, so
Yes.
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot has changed.
Oh yeah, in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
We've definitely had a lot of shifts, and I'd say mostly for the better.
I want to stress that we are in the business of medical warfare right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So we're a happy place, but we're on the front lines of medical tyranny, and that is that's a hard line to draw, but we've drawn it, and the American people are, we're at this tipping point in healthcare where if we show that we can get results and we can help you and give people opportunities and find clinics out there, I mean, this is a new form of healthcare because it's what it was intended to be. It's to make you better, and to not just put out fires, And I think over the last couple of years for me, and since COVID, I felt personally attacked with how the way you can. I just envisioned like having to have clearance to leave your house, to go to the park, to go like that. It was a real feeling that I felt like, and the scare techniques used by the media, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing.
Right.
It was shocking.
Yeah, it was disturbing, especially, so my perspective, I worked for the local ABC affiliate network at the time when all the COVID stuff was starting. And there was a ton of live streams from what was going on in China before it really impacted us. Was
it the people falling over in the streets?
I never even saw the people falling over in the streets. It was more just the riots of like everything going on. But there would be, this literally, we had a live stream almost always coming into us. And then we'd take these short little snippets and they would manipulate what was going on. It's like, no, if you added another 2 minutes to what you just showed the viewers, you'd see that's not at all what's happening.
Man.
And at that point, like that confirmed not only the suspicion, but what I pretty much already believed was happening was the manipulation in the media.
Right.
Because at that point, yeah, I'd been working in media, but I hadn't been working in television. I hadn't been working in news and all that.
Right.
But once you get into that, you really see just how much manipulating goes on behind the scenes. And the sad thing is that people accuse the anchors, and yeah, there are anchors out there that are definitely guilty of being the manipulators. But a lot of times, it's more the producers in the backgrounds
Really?
that are manipulating everything, because
Oh,
they're the
man.
ones getting that content in. They're the ones writing the scripts that the anchors are saying. It's just, it's sad. It's sad because they're not doing it for providing actual facts or truth. They're doing it because they want to get an uproar. They want to get people heated so that they end up having more of a major impact, bringing in more money, and it's sad. It's disappointing. And unfortunately, even the more conservative platforms out there can be just as guilty of it.
Of course.
Right. It's like, I like Daily Wire. I like Ben Shapiro. I also know that they're not perfect.
Right.
Are they one of the more reliable options out there? Probably. But there are still things that their bias gets too. No one's perfect.
Right.
We all have our biases, and we're all going to preach and push for one thing more than we are the other. And So that's why you can't just believe what is being told. You need to do the research. You need
do.
to
You do.
focus on educating yourself about it
Right.
to really know what's going on.
Isn't it something?
Yep,
And we work in media.
we do.
We are media as well. So
Yeah.
we have a little bit higher code of standards to stick to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like what we promote here at the Wellness Way is the truth, and it's a lot of it's just intelligence about your body, the understanding your body, your mind.
Yeah, so we may have times where we talk about, the political aspects of what's going on and everything, but we always try to bring it back to this is what this is doing to your body. This is what taking the drugs is actually doing to your body. We break it down into the scientific layer of everything, but then also simplify it in a way that it's easier to understand.
Right.
And that is the education that we need to be seeking to really understand what we're doing to ourselves, what others are doing to us with,
Yep.
the doctors. And I could totally go on a spiel about the medical industry with all the stuff
It's
that
a
I've
safe
had to deal
space.
with.
We can breathe around here.
That's true. I mean, well, it's like I told you.
Speak freely. It's going in the vault, right?
Right.
You produce what you need out there. We can talk. It's
Well,
okay.
it's like I
know.
told you, I think earlier this week, I want to produce a documentary series called Rise Up and Take a Stand. And the specific focus on it is literally doing just that. We have so much crap going on in our world that if people actually took the time to stand up to it, we could put an end to it.
Right.
And, my first focus is in malpractice. And that's partially because I dealt with malpractice as an issue last year. But I also met other people who lost their kids because of medical malpractice, because the medical staff literally poisoned their children and then did nothing about it. Wow. And that enrages me. Like, kids are my weakness. You mess with a kid, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. It's just how it's gonna happen.
Right.
And so it's like we need to take a stand. But I was talking to an attorney at one point when looking into dealing with the malpractice stuff in my case. And after talking to 3 different attorneys, the last one said, "Give me a minute, I need to go sit in my car." And I'm like, okay, kind of weird, but whatever. I hear him get into his car and he's like, "So I did not actually tell you this. You were better off dealing with this on a political standpoint than you are actually filing any sort of lawsuit, because the medical malpractice laws are to protect the doctors.
Right.
They're not to protect the people whose doctors malpractice hurt or killed, or the families that are around those people. They are there to protect the doctors and manipulate it so that the doctors pretty much can't be held responsible for their mistakes, their intentional manipulations,
Right.
whatever it is. You
No
can't-
accountability.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, what is going on with our world? Because I'm sorry, my parents, they raised me. Take responsibility, you take accountability. When you screw up, you do what you need to do to fix it, or learn from it so you don't make the same mistake again.
Right.
But don't throw it under the bus,
Right.
because that's how we end up with the world like we live in today.
Yeah, we need a major unraveling of our system, and I think just we've set very low standards for life and in America, and I think I've felt over these last couple of years like, where's Lady Liberty? I haven't seen her in a while.
Right? Well,
She's been gone since COVID or before.
Oh, probably long before.
Yeah.
You think about it, we're literally becoming the country that we once fought to get away from.
Right.
We're going right back to being under the similar guidelines and layout of how the British government is operated.
Right.
The only reason we don't have a king or queen yet is because no one's manipulated it to that point yet.
Yeah.
Or we're going to go even further. And unfortunately, I think this is more the direction that we're going, where we're going to end up in another Hitler situation, except America is going to be Germany.
Yeah.
Because that's more the direction we're going.
Yeah.
And
Superpower.
Yeah, and it's scary, and I joked with my mom the other day, because, dude, I think roundabouts are ridiculous.
Right.
Britain is who created roundabouts. And now we're literally replacing all these intersections throughout America with roundabouts, and it's
Right.
like, are we copying them for a reason, or like what's going on? And I realize
Right.
like that's low on the level of like major issues, but
Right.
we're doing that in so many different ways. That we're pushing more and more to have gun rights taken away. That's what we fought against with Britain. They wanted to
Right.
keep us from having all of our weapons, having the right to take a stand and make decisions for ourselves.
Right.
And that's what we're doing with all of the COVID crap, with all of the gun right crap, with all of the abortion right crap, like all of this stuff, one thing after another. It's
Right.
we want to take away this right, we want to take away this right. We want to make it so you can murder your children, so that way we don't have to worry about fighting more of you later on. Like,
Yes, well, that's why I'm worried about technology going into our bodies, because I feel like that will be what we've always thought was the hope of a more powerful human, more
Right.
understanding. You can just download a system. Hey, here you learn karate, you learn the ballroom dance, learn anything instantly, which I think sounds amazing. But I'm worried that we're technologically we are advancing so fast that we have no system we have only a small sample size to look back in the last 20, 30 years here. And we're not going to be able to handle it, understand it. And I think as soon as we try to get inside, when the WHO is saying, that humans are hackable,
right.
and that we have no rights, or that we lose our sovereignty as soon as they can manipulate and get control of your brain, your body,
Yeah.
is a scary thing for someone in power to say. It's really, it's a real disgrace. And, I often wonder I don't know if I can trust Elon Musk, because I never trust any one public figure that rises up to say, hey, do you like him or not? It's
Right.
like, why is there just one Elon Musk? But I mean, can you imagine how conflicted he must be? Because he's the one who's able to unlock a lot of those technological mysteries that we want to do. But then evil always outsources and outweighs the good, because if you can manipulate, just like a shot, if you can create a shot that's gonna, what are we doing in Wuhan? We're creating shots that we know could kill people,
Right.
and it releases from our own. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know what to say. I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but
No, that's cool.
the fact that we have places like in Wuhan and what I feel also are in Ukraine, and I'm sure how many other places, everyone's trying to find the worst disease, the worst poison, how many times are we scared with Russia and them going nuclear on us?
Right.
We're really being manipulated.
Yeah, we throw Russia in there, North Korea, China, like all
So
of
how do
them.
you tune that out? Can you imagine all the people that are brainwashed to believe this stuff, which is a lot of America?
Yeah, it is. And
That's what they focus on.
yeah, well,
And
that's
notice
what they use media for.
Right.
Is to
And
be
it
able to do that.
interrupts thinking your own, it interrupts our system to the point where our intuition gets really drowned out, and that's a scary thing, because I'm the type of person who relies on my intuition and how I'm feeling, and like I always feel like I assess myself every day, right, how I'm feeling. Some days it's stronger than others, but a lot of days I'm just like not always comfortable with social aspect of life. Like I'm really not. I mean, I kind of have some anxiety about coming here, and it's not a good or all bad thing either. It's like there's a
Yeah, I get
I
what
ha-
you're saying, because
there's a vibration energy about this place that it's sometimes hard for me to concentrate, absorb, and all the interruptions and the pace of this place.
Right.
It moves, and we've got
Going
50 people
nonstop and-
all around us moving, and it's like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. How can I help? Hey, sure. Can you help me? Can I get something?
Right.
This is. But
Well,
we
and-
all make it work.
Yeah,
and I
well,
love that.
You think about it, for you and I, it's a little more, even more difficult, because we have those empath
Yes.
factors or traits, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
And it
Thank you,
took
Lord
me-
Jesus. I
Yeah.
love being an empath, but wow, it's intense, right?
Right. Well, and it took me a while to truly understand what an empath is, because essentially it's you don't only see the emotions and the feelings that are going on around you, you also feel them yourself. And you may not feel them to the same intensity as the person who you're recognizing it from, but you can see it. Like someone can
Sure.
walk by, like let's say, we're sitting in the break room and somebody walks by and they may say, hey, yeah, I'm doing good. If we go, hey, how are you doing and everything. One person may be like, okay, cool, they're doing good. But for an empath, you're like, they're saying they're doing good, but I feel something completely different
Of course,
coming
right.
from them.
Right.
And it's only over the last year or so that I've sort of started to realize that that's why I am always all over the place emotionally. It's because it's not just my emotions I'm dealing with,
Right.
it's everybody else's too.
Right.
And it's a good thing, and it's a frustrating thing. I don't even think it's a bad thing. I think once you learn how to identify and control it,
Yes.
that it is actually a huge blessing, especially if you're somebody who loves to be there for other people, who loves to help others. I didn't choose to go the psychology route just for the route of focusing on behavioral analysis and doing in criminal investigation and taking down human trafficking in the US and everything. That wasn't my only focus. I want to be able to be there for others. And even though I'm still working on my master's, I still got another 6 months. June's when I'll be done with it. I'm already like giving people therapy sessions unofficially because I'm not actually licensed or certified.
Right.
But I'm already
Right.
I'm taking the time to sit and talk to people and not just talk to them but hear them.
Right.
Because more often than not, that's all anyone's looking for is they want to be
right.
heard. And that is the frustrating part about everything is people we're really good at talking, we suck at listening.
Yeah.
And if we can learn to step back and listen,
Yeah.
that'll make a huge difference, not only in our professional careers, but also in our personal relationships.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just...
It's a lot. I don't know how you're tackling all this work. I really don't, because the other day you showed me some of your footage from the Unreal Engine
Yeah, the game
designs
that I'm working on.
that you game, and I was like, so wait a minute, no, he's doing this, right? He's handling all the technological support in our studios, handling doc schedule,
Yeah.
which is intense. All the little requests. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing: we sit by the printer and the entrance to the back room, so we are the last people that they see. Everyone walking through the whole building, like we're part of that flow. And I don't like to ignore people.
Yeah.
But
That's my struggle.
right.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to ignore them when they walk by,
Right.
because they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
We're in the high traffic part of the office.
Right. So like with Salima, I've seen that red button on her door.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing, because you got to understand everyone's boundaries here. And I know we give a lot and we bend over backwards for people. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we have a wide boundary, but everyone still has to keep their boundaries and and just, I don't know, you just want to let the flow of the day happen. But yeah, that's one thing I've been noticing just since the weather turned cold this year is just a flooding of emotions comes over me just like within, because I got a 28-mile drive here. I got just a half-hour drive to get here, but in that moment, I've been cranking my music up. It's like I psych myself to get out of the headspace that I'm currently in, which is sometimes lately has been welling up with emotions. Right. And I actually use the music that I play to drive me to almost have a emotional breakdown. And then I can rebound. I probably need about 10 minutes after that, 5 minutes minimum,
Right.
Maybe 2-3 minutes to really recover and get my eyes dry. But like, I've just noticed, just being completely honest here that, maybe some of that seasonal depression that you might have living in Wisconsin. I really am not a outdoorsman,
Right.
but I love the outdoors. But like when it comes to winter and when fall happens, there's a shift that happens in me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's just the sun. Maybe, part of it's the sunlight.
Yeah.
Which I definitely plan on taking advantage of that bed. Dude, I'm going to be in that thing. I'm going to start that now because I'm already feeling a deficiency in it.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
But I've just been feeling like it's nothing that it's such an unexplainable feeling because it's sometimes it comes from a place of, home life. And so you do bring that aspect, and if we're all honest with each other, like our home lives are not always easy. Sometimes it's a season of just hurt, and that sucks. And so that's life, for people, trying to, and some people are really good at separating that what's happening at home and then what's happening, in the workplace. And I can't always say I am because I wear my emotions on my sleeve, but
Right.
there's just been times lately where it hasn't been anything at times where nothing coming from home, but these emotions are just welling up, and I feel like I need to have that burst moment before I get to work so that I can go to work and concentrate.
Right.
And it could be sentimental music that I know triggers me, and I still listen to it. A lot of times it's like lately it's been more Thievery Corporation, hip hop, just to it's a really like easy, chill vibe, great beats, like heavy, intense. It's like a world music.
Right.
It's got all these drums and stuff in it. Like that just gets me super excited. But yeah, I've been having these feelings, and it sounds silly, but I've usually have to just compose myself, and then I go into work. And then it's like, I have to kind of, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing one of those things, right?
Right.
I'm bullshitting.
No, I get
because it's like, wow, I for no reason, but like I'm not crazy, but I just have these feelings, and I just got to say, I had this one conversation with Brenda, and B Money is amazing, and I saw her, we were both getting out of our car, and I was just like struggling. I'm like, dang it, I got to get myself, like, why am I feeling like this? But I got to get myself in order. I'm about to walk into work, and I'm happy to be at work.
Right.
But like, geez. And I just started talking to her, and I just started breaking down. And I just said, Brenda, I cannot believe the amount of energy I'm having to deal with right now. And she said, I know exactly what's happening. Let's go up to my office. I'll line up a nice, we'll get some shots to help you relax for a second. But let's just sit and talk and talk about what you're feeling. And so we had a conversation, and part of it is just like trying to explain to her, hey, I don't know why I'm having this tidal wave of emotions. And it's right before I get back into work, she goes, well, look where you work here, right? You work in this environment where we're the last hope for people. And so we're talking, people who are, last hope feeling. You've experienced that. You've had your own medical scares. You've almost died. So like your family's been through this. This is, we're the last hope for people. And so I want to support always the doctors here, because they've taken the time to understand the body. And from Dr. Flynn down, we've understood the body better than anyone.
Right.
In the world.
Yeah, we've broken it down. We don't just slap a Band-Aid on or give drugs to what's going on so that it temporarily makes you feel better. We like, okay, yeah, we can do that, but then let's take it a step further and figure out what is going on.
Right. It's like we read between all the lies and the bullshit. I personally, since COVID, have been looking to join my community in a feeling of, hey, we are handed lies and bullshit. And obviously the FDA, the CDC, Tony Fauci, this is horrible. What they were recommending to the President of the United States for procedures for healthcare, and what we've been, it's like we're being controlled by healthcare.
Yeah, we really
And
are.
it's really sad.
And it's not even because they're actually offering any sort of decent health care. It's literally because they're making a buttload of money off of it.
Right. Big Pharma controls the United States.
Yep. Oh yeah, because
And that's
the
the
more
USA we're
drugs they
living in.
sell,
Yeah.
the more money they make.
Right.
And people don't realize that, yeah, drugs are really expensive. And you know why they're expensive? Because usually they jack up the prices 500 to 1,000% more than what it costs for them to make the drug.
Yeah.
And that's just like, okay, you're just in it for the money.
Right.
You don't actually care about the people at all.
Yep. And every family knows someone who's hurt by drug use, medical malpractice.
Yep. Well, and think about how many families are. Think about the healthy families who don't ever have to use their medical insurance, but yet they're still paying $400, $500, $600, if not more, a month to have health insurance because it's required by the government.
Right.
And so it's just another way that the government's stealing our money between health insurance costs, whether you need it or you don't need it, between car insurance costs, whether you need it or you don't need it, between taxes that are pointless. The reason our country is in so much debt is because we have terrible financial management. I mean, we spend more time giving our money to other countries than we do taking care of our own country.
Right.
And it's just like, if we cut off everybody else and took care of ourselves first,
Sure.
and then reformatted how we were helping other countries, we would be in a much better place.
Right.
Especially because we're giving our money to countries where it's like, oh, y'all are blowing each other up and shooting each other on a daily basis. Here, have a few $1 million to help you fund all of that, because then you're going to want more of the stuff that we're manufacturing and making money off to help fund your war.
Yeah. It's really, I think it starts in your family. You got to take accountability for how you want to raise your family. And I really appreciate like they say, like the scales being lifted off your eyes, because here at the Wellness Way, you will understand more of the manipulation. And I look at our alliances with the Children's Health Defense. You've conducted and helped broadcast some of these very important meetings with. I mean, we are part of an alliance of the best.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where your outreach is going to lead to.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I think, it's awesome doing the outreach stuff because we are making a further reach. And I think it's really important for us to realize that also we have to continue that outreach in the media aspect as well.
Yes.
Because right now, I guarantee you, some of what we're talking about today is not going to be able to go on YouTube or anything like that because of keywords like COVID or vaccines or all the conspiracy theories. It's going to get taken down. It'll it's just is what it is, which is why for this I'm trying to build my own website platform to put that stuff on, where it's like, here's a tease of what we're talking about on all the big platforms for promoting purposes.
Right.
Now go here to get the whole picture.
Right.
And and that's one
Is
of
that
the
the only
things.
space that your First Amendment rights are like?
Even then, it depends on who you use as like your hosting provider, or if you set
that
up your
something?
own system.
Right.
Because there's actually been several websites that have talked out against vaccines and COVID and all that were hosted by third-party companies that use stuff like Amazon's server systems.
Sure.
And Amazon's like, nope, we don't want that. Your website's gone.
See, that's where sponsorship can ruin a business.
Yeah.
And sponsorship really drives America. And sponsorship also, I don't know. I'm sick of feeling like a consumer, I don't want to just be a consumer in this world. And I feel like when COVID hit, I really took a good look at myself to be like, all right, if I'm stuck in my house, what am I going to do here? All right, I need to start getting rid of shit, I need to downsize. I need to really think about what's most important in life. Because that was a scare, with the hand wash and the masks, and it's like, yeah, we're going to catch a disease coming through the air. We're going to be dead next week. We all, I don't know if you had that. I had a couple of those moments where I thought,
I said those first couple of weeks when it started making that impact, I was like, I'm not sure what to believe, but I'm going to, take the time to be careful. And then once I kind of saw through the bullshit of it all, I was like, okay, fuck this. I don't care.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get to that point?
Well, since I was working at the TV station and seeing how everything was manipulated, not long. Week, maybe 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, right.
It did not take long at all.
Right.
And I pissed off everybody at the TV station because I refused to wear a mask for a couple of reasons. One, medically, not the best thing in the world for me to wear a mask.
Right.
I had enough issues as it was. Cutting off my oxygen supply wasn't going to help with that. Secondly, it was a waste of time. I'm sorry, those masks do not block germs and all that crap like they
Yeah.
try to say that
Right.
they do.
Right.
You know, yeah, maybe it defends a little bit, but it's not going to be your lifesaver.
No.
And at the end of the day,
And there was so much misinformation on the mask.
yeah, there was.
I mean, come on. The holes in that game are ridiculous, and that's why our CDC has been completely revamped, and we're gonna clean house. And one thing I want to say is I want to ask you, Nancy Pelosi just is deciding to step down.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, her husband got involved in something a couple weeks ago,
No, I didn't.
a break-in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I find it very interesting that she's finally deciding to step down, like Fauci stepping down. It's been a good ride, but I'm going to step down. No, these people are trying to skate off and bury lies and bury.
Is it they don't want to be held
Oh
responsible?
my gosh, our political system.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I could totally.
Does it make you proud to be an American? The way that
No,
this bullshit we're being taught by Republicans, Democrats, and this hope that these two-party system is.
Yeah, well, it was never intended to be a two-party system. You look back at the history of past political parties, and there was 3, 4, 5 parties that would try to take different political positions. And yes, we do still have some other, independent parties that try, but they don't have the impact that the Democrats and the Republicans have, or the money. and then a lot of, like I said, that's why we need to rise up and take a stand.
Yeah.
And that's why I love people like Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo has no issue with pissing people off, telling the truth.
Right.
That's why he gets kicked off of social media platforms. He's been permanently banned from Facebook.
Yep. Look, Hollywood can't support him.
Yeah,
For all
Hollywood
the good
has
work
nothing
he's
to
done,
do with
they
him.
can't support him.
Yep.
Just because he has his own voice. So.
Yeah, it's like he has a new movie coming out in January called Left Behind: The Rise of the Antichrist, and it's based off the Left Behind books, but rather than like the previous 2 series of movies, I've seen them all, and I actually know one of the producers from the original Left Behind series, but instead of taking it from the perspective of the beginning of the book series, where it's like, oh, the rapture happened and everything, they're skipping past that because everyone knows that part of the story. They're going straight to what is truly coming, and that is the Antichrist is coming,
Right.
and is manipulating the world into a one-world currency. I mean, think about it. We're already trying to do that with all the cryptocurrency stuff.
Yeah.
At some point, I truly believe that while I regret not investing in something like Bitcoin when it first came out, because I'd be filthy rich now if I had,
Sure.
I also am glad that I didn't. I mean, I have some cryptocurrency, but not a lot. But I'm glad that I didn't make it a major focus, because it was only fueling what I believe is going to end up becoming a one-world currency system.
Right.
Because it's completely digital, and I'm sorry, even our third world countries have technology for stuff like that.
Right.
It's not perfect. I'm not saying that there aren't parts of countries that have no technology and stuff like that.
Right.
But for the majority, the ones that they truly care about,
Right.
they have everything they need, and it's pushing into that more and more. The U.S. dollar pretty much is worthless nowadays.
Right.
Like, U.S. currency has no value to the rest of the world in any way. But that's because we don't even have real money anymore, because we just keep printing it out. It's just more and more paper.
Right.
That's just, you're out of money here. Let me go turn the printer on. We'll print out a couple $100 bills for you. And
Right. Well, what would it be like for you too? Because you're younger than me. I waited till my 30s when I bought my first house. But what is it like to buy a house these days, like in interest rates and stuff? Like, how does like heating costs? I mean, what is it like? What is that like?
Yeah, so actually, my youngest brother, he just bought his first house, and I wasn't super involved in it, but having done research to try to figure out what I want to do, because I'm at that point where, like, right now I'm living back home with my parents because of all the health stuff that I dealt with. It just, I needed to go back home. I needed that support.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of at that point where I won't go rent another apartment because apartment prices are insanely high. I mean, the apartment that I paid $565 a month for before moving back home after being in the coma is, I think, almost triple that price now per month, not factoring in your utility costs that have skyrocketed and gone up high.
Scary.
It is. It's scary.
Our
because
energy it is a scary thing. Like, I feel like we're in this space where we're trying to push towards, having one device control all the thermostat and the lights and everything like that. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Along with electric cars and all this, I feel like we're in the space where like we're almost there, but we're going to manipulate and smash you and take all your money until we get to that. And I feel like, yeah.
Well,
Again, we're consumers. We're
Yeah.
like rats.
Yeah, that's
and
what
we
they
have a
feed off of.
population number that's too much for a lot of people. I just saw the other day deaths in Germany went up like 43% or something like this.
Yeah.
It was all these breakdowns of all the major cities and how deaths went up since COVID.
Oh,
And
yeah.
COVID is a real thing. COVID, not only is the shot not tested and not safe for everyone, but the actual COVID is really hurtful and can harm people's systems. And if anyone's got it, which most people have, I mean, everyone reacts.
Differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And,
we all have different bodies.
yeah,
There's
we
no
have
one
different
size
bodies.
fits all reaction or treatment or.
That's why when I saw a lady on the way in today, masked up, alone in her car, and I'm just thinking like, but also I can't. People have a choice.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying since I didn't get the shot that I'm better. It's nothing like that. Whoever got the shot, everyone's got to make their own choice, and you got to be happy and live with your consequences. Like Doc says often, just don't complain later.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, when it comes back down to the simplicity of it, we need to get back to where we actually show respect.
Yeah.
And have the expectation of receiving
Right.
respect, because that's part of our issue. Is like let's say, for example, you did get the COVID shot. Would I think it was a stupid decision? Yeah, I would, but I'm not going to judge you and have our relationship be any
It would make
different.
sense from all the pressure that we all got. It would
Right.
make sense for anyone to take it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I have friends who have gotten the COVID shot,
yeah.
and we've had heated conversations with each other about how we feel about it, but we were able to show that respect to each other of, okay, we have differing opinions, we don't need to agree with each other, we just need to respect each other's.
Yes.
And for some people, or so for some friends, it's like, okay, if we go any further with this conversation, we're going to regret it.
Right.
So let's
Yeah.
put a stop to
Right.
it and let's
not,
move on.
It's like politics. Let's just not even go there.
Right.
Now, here's the one thing with the shot. It was first promoted as a single shot. Mm-hmm. Well, we learned the thing only works for a couple months.
Right.
So before they would say you have to get on a series of shots, they're saying one shot. That's from Tony Fauci, the leader. I mean, this is our top speaker for our science
Right.
program, saying, and a healthcare program saying, take the shot. Take one shot
And
and
you'll be
your
good.
symptoms, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you won't pass it to anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just, but the way the world is working now is they're trying to align shots with vaccines so that instead of getting multiple shots, now you just get one vaccine. And that's the space that we're in now is big pharma's like, oops, oh, I'm sorry, look what we did to you. Oh, sorry, don't look here. No, we'll pay out settlements there, even though the VAERS list keeps climbing. And like, the thing is, as long as we just keep shouting, keep talking about it, keep talking about the truth, which is just nothing wrong with speaking the truth,
Right.
and talking about what happened, and just calling out our own government and our own healthcare system, saying, no, you guys fucked up royally.
Yeah.
We got it way off. So like Tony Fauci now is riding off into the sunset. Quick, I'm going to retire. Dude, he is gone. You won't see him anywhere.
No.
Let's say he's at a fucking New York Yankees game and they put the camera on. Oh, there's Tony Fauci with the New York. He'd probably get mobbed and killed, and he knows that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think it's important that we need to take it one step forward in this battle, because it's a battle. We are in a war, and unfortunately, it is headed to a point where at some point there's going to be more than just the mental, emotional, political bloodshed, but there's going to be literal bloodshed. I could see us heading towards another civil war.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we need to do more of is we can't just keep talking about it. We need to actually be taking the time to step forward and perform the actions that are needed. If that means getting involved in politics, if that means, I'm not going to say rioting, because I don't know that. I think there's a time and a place for riots. I think more times, more often than not, it's overly dramatized and pointless
Right.
and doesn't actually serve its purpose. But, we need to be able to know what are the actions we need to take to actually see a difference.
Right.
Okay, let's stop talking about it. Let's start doing those actions.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are. Everybody will talk about it, but what are we actually doing to see that change happen?
It's like, what is the world we envision without big pharma in the way? That's yet to be unwritten.
Yeah. I know.
So
Well,
that's where
we've become so reliant on
right.
them.
how are we going to unravel from that? How are we going to detach from that?
Unfortunately, I think if, and I believe that we will at some point hit this scenario where we're going to lose electricity. I mean, just look at California.
Yeah.
They can't even
That's
keep
the
their
next
power
scare.
on.
It is.
Like, we're going to lose electricity.
Yeah.
We lose electricity, we're going to lose all of the business structures. We're going to lose all of our environmental structure because everything is built off of technology
Right.
now. And the scary thing is that especially people who are younger than me and you, hell, even most of my own generation, they won't survive long without it because
Right.
they don't know how to.
Right.
Thankfully my parents, they raised me, teach me how to do stuff, like hunting, camping, how to start a fire without, a lighter, and like doing all of
Right.
this stuff. I was involved in Boy Scouts growing up where you learned a lot of those skills
Right.
and stuff like that. Unfortunately, too many people don't know how to do that stuff. And the moment the technology is gone,
Yeah.
it's going to be a mix of bloodshed because they're going to be fighting everybody else to get what's left.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a mix of the technology, losing the pharmacy, losing all the business structure,
Right.
losing all of it.
Right.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that that's all it would take is somebody turning off the power and
Right.
gone.
Yeah. That is very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think since COVID, too, like a lot of people moved out of the city, and I think a lot of construction these days is like just how many people can we get in one space,
Yeah.
and go up with it, and I don't know. I think that we're being pushed towards where we have to like worry. Oh, we're using too much carbon footprint today. You're breathing too much. You're using too much space, too much energy to get to that place. Like I'm really, I do worry about just putting a price tag on life.
Right.
And you can see they're trying to. They push hard and they step back a little bit, and they push a little harder and they step back, and they push hard, and it's just. I'm sorry if you. I have a hard time understanding how people can right now support the Democratic Party because I do feel that because of Democratic leadership, we've lost censorship, medical tyranny. I also just feel like we've become more divisive because we are alienating race. We're bringing up race.
Yeah.
all
Well,
the
in
time.
a lot of ways, they've made it where basically what the Liberal Party has ended up doing is they've made it where you can't hurt other people's feelings. And so if that means being honest is going to hurt their feelings, don't be honest, lie to their face.
Right.
That's what we've become.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, why? I would much rather someone be honest with me and piss me off in the moment,
Sure.
but take the time to process through it and realize, wait, they weren't wrong. And wow, I needed to hear that. And then, go back and be like, okay, sorry, I called you a lot of mean, nasty things in response. I wasn't, thinking in the moment. Than being lied to. And that's always been one of my frustrations, actually, because even some of my closest friends are guilty of this, where I've had situations where it's like, oh, yeah, I applied for this job. It's going to be really awesome. And they know something about someone who works there, or they know something about the company itself that has them concerned about me going there, but they don't take the time to tell me.
Right.
And it's like, and then later on in the job, I'll be like, oh, I discovered this and I, have an issue with this. And they're like, yeah, we knew about that. And they're like,
Right.
Why didn't you take the time to
Right.
like say something?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't want to piss you off. Okay, so you would have pissed me off in the moment, but I might have made a smarter
Oh my
decision later
gosh.
on
Right.
too. And
Right. Sometimes the hard truth is absolutely necessary. I've had to be that guy who I had to tell this one guy one time that he was being cheated on because none of his friends would. I was more of an acquaintance. But I'm like,
Right.
I can't see this guy he's getting cheated on.
Dude, that
This
is
girl
hard.
turned this guy's life upside down, which, I've had that happen to me too, where just like, where you get cheated on, like the manipulation is so good. It's like you would have never believed until it came out of their mouth
Yeah.
that it was happening.
I say that's hard. That's a hard place to be in, both in
Yeah.
on both sides, both to be told and also to be the one to tell. Especially
Right.
because when you're the one who knows, and you want them to know what's going on, but then you have to also look at it like, okay, how does that affect
Right.
them? How does that affect you?
Right.
If you
Yeah.
tell them.
I know. It's a hard one.
It is, and I've
Yeah.
been in those situations where it's like that is a downside to my personality. It's not a downside. It's a positive and a negative where people naturally feel like they can be very open with me, which is
Yes.
fine. I
See,
don't
that's
have
your
a problem
empath
with that.
you have to just support that because that's something
Right.
that's out of your control.
Yeah.
It's something that you non-verbally, it's something that you non-verbally communicate and you don't even realize it.
Right.
But that's what being an empath is really heavy sometimes because people connect to us so deeply. Like they open up to us in ways that really it's a whole nother level of emotion that they're getting with you, and that's transferred to you.
Right.
And it's a gift and it's a blessing, but it's hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know a lot of people. I can't think of any other person that's building that. Besides maybe one of our docs, that people will just speak to you. You have a great connection with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny.
It's a lot.
So yesterday I was going
That
out.
means you probably know more secrets and know more stuff that, it's like, it's not all good in fairyland and hey, it's,
and nowhere is.
and I know you support everyone. You support people, and you respect their relationships and the people, that they have. And so, you appreciate people. I know you do, and you give and give and give, right? So
And that's one of my weaknesses, is I tend to love people. Like I do. I love people. And it's funny, even though over the last couple of years I've developed a lot of anxiety in being around people, mostly because of the health stuff.
Right.
But even once I push past that anxious moment, being around other people, even if it's not interacting, but just being able to observe, like it brings that peace about me.
Yep.
And
I'm surprised you worked in a news station then. News stations are
that was hell.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I respect it, but news stations are a high anxiety, high turnover. Holy shit!
Oh,
Get
yeah.
it to me yesterday.
Dude, there was times.
Never enough.
Just ask my parents. There was times I was beyond.
Yeah, it doesn't
pissed
fit your
off
personality. It does with your technical skill set and be able to multi. I mean, because it's a challenge. Like I've always thought that would be a great challenge to work at a news station, but just like I already lost my hair. I don't need gray stubble coming out, completely go gray. But I respect it. Carry on. Sorry, you're.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But yeah, it's people tend to open up to you, and when people feel that they can open up to you, it's because they can trust you.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like you said, there are plenty of things that I know about many of the people that we work with that I will never share with anyone else unless it is a life or death situation in which it's best for them, me too.
Well, it's kind of like
sometimes that's really hard.
you're already adapting your field of expertise in protecting people.
Yeah, it's like I will always end up working in media and entertainment and technology and everything, but that's not always going to be my primary focus. It's like I think I've talked to you a little bit about my business structure is, right now I'm starting to work on that video game because it's something I can start on my own and kind of get built to build the foundation of the business working in media. But then that media business is what's actually going to end up funding building the second half of the business, which is a agency or organization that is focused on being able to help people in need without them having to worry about the expense of it.
Right.
I want to be able to have like a private investigation agency or a search and rescue or taking down trafficking
awesome.
rings and stuff like that
Right.
without people having to pay us a dime for
Right.
it. And I want to be able to not only go that route, but I want to be able to have the people who work there have the experience, like our veterans, our law
Right.
enforcement, people that already know what needs to be done and can do the hard things. Because unfortunately, going that route is going to end up meaning probably pissing off Uncle Sam along the way.
Right.
Because unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption in our government that
Right.
in order to solve one problem, you have to take down the other first.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like in America, you almost have to, you can get yourself to a level of success, but you don't want to be too much on the radar because you'll start to interrupt, higher stratospheres. And it's like,
Right. Or it's like if you know you're going to be up there on the radar and everyone's going to know you, you better have really damn good security.
right.
Because,
right.
and I know this is going to sound totally conspiracy theorist, but how many people have we seen in the news over the last decade, 2 decades, where it's like, oh, they suddenly just dropped dead, perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the week before that, they were about to expose a business person or a politician or something.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
I wonder why they dropped dead,
Right. I know.
And it's just like,
It happens.
it does.
There's
And-
there's like Soprano shit going on all the time. Right?
oh yeah.
And
We
that's
are
just-
living the Godfather.
Right. Well, and that's where one thing I wanted to ask you about is like I'm trying to interpret, what's happening on the southern border of the United States right now, and I think that we're trying to really absorb a people who are really disadvantaged and have horrible living conditions. But I think it's so that we can grow more of a superpower like America, like you were talking about before. I think that we are trying to be leaders in production in no matter what we do. But like how do you interpret what's going on the southern border right now? Because it's kind of like the media is squelching what all of our bordering states are dealing with. And what does that even say?
I think that
It's a tough subject, sorry.
it is. It is
It's
a little bit tough
subject.
because there's multiple perspectives to it. There's
Right.
the perspective of how did America start in the first place? We literally were the melting pot.
Right, right.
We brought people in from that they were running from the dictatorships, the countries that were destroying them and their families.
Right.
So that's literally how we were built and how we were founded. And
Yeah.
we did some ugly crap along the way. I mean, you won't find this in the history books, but we literally slaughtered millions of people to take over this land.
For sure. Yeah.
And that's all stuff that they hide
Oh, of course.
from us.
Right.
But
what we've done to the Native American culture. We never really get the blame as Americans.
Yeah.
I've had conversations in German bars with people who say, okay, because Germany, obviously, they'll always be traumatized by what Hitler did.
Yeah.
And my mom is a war child. She her dad died in the war, but in those conversations, it was really interesting to hear. Well, my grandpa was in the war, but he was just taking orders,
yeah.
which is,
And for a lot of them, I think that is what was going on. Is they were taking
orders.
and following through because
Right.
they were scared.
Yes.
And they were trying to protect their families.
Right.
But
they
obviously
said-
not all of them, but
Right.
I would say a vast
course.
majority of them were that
Right.
way.
Could you imagine going against that regime? I mean, it must have just been a horrible time.
Yeah.
But they also, this same guy in the bar said, well, what you've done to the Native American culture
Yeah.
is horrible. And
Really, it's no better than what
No, it's
Hitler
nothing.
did to the Jews.
No. Right.
It literally is no better, And I could choose to sit here and feel guilty about it, but I'm like, well, one, I wasn't alive,
Right.
so
Not
I didn't
your
really
nature.
have any say.
There is no nature to hate people.
Right.
Right.
And
Hate is taught.
it is.
It's taught.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother tangent we could go on. But
Right.
like going back to the whole border situation, there's that perspective of we need to be able to let people in. But then there's also the perspective of kind of what I brought up earlier. we spend so much time helping everyone else that we're not taking care of ourselves.
Right.
And you cannot take it from somebody who has made this mistake more than once in his life. And part of why I've dealt with some of the health issues that I have, I've spent too much time being there for other people and not taking care of myself, that it caused me to hit that point where my body literally crashed and was done, because I wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't exercising properly. I was consuming foods and beverages that were literally destroying my body. I wasn't sleeping because I was going nonstop. And I still get accused of that today, and they're not 100% wrong, but I found a healthier balance in managing it.
Right.
You know, it's like you brought up to me the other day. I have a totally different energy level now than I did 6 months ago when I started.
Yeah.
Like, I was
Yes.
still very much more like a zombie when I started.
Yeah.
Where now, I mean, I work 10, 12-hour long days, 5-6 days a week. And I'm still able to go home and like enjoy
Yes.
my life a little bit.
Even when you say you're tired, you still have a good energy to you.
Yeah, I know.
But when first saw you, I think, and this is the truth of when I came here too. Like I was a different person. Mm-hmm. And if I could say one word when I first met you, it's probably been like you were waiting. You were in a reactionary mode.
Yeah.
Where, man, I could tell you had like a little bit of like blue or purple around your eyes, and you looked like you were here to work from day one. You're here to learn, to absorb, and you did it faster than anyone I could probably ever, that was amazing to see that process. But, I just, then hearing you share these little glimpses of what you went through and being in a coma and all the other scares, like, we have yet to properly like dive into that whole, and that must be a hard one, because some of the tragedy in my life, which hasn't much happened, but like a car accident in 2017 was one particular moment where I survived and I had all my parts, and I walked away with just bruising, but emotionally was scarred, and
Right.
it kind of changed who I am, and I feel for the better, for the stronger. But it took about 4 years to recover, where I feel, and will I ever be the same? Will my mind ever work the same? I don't know, but I feel like that all pales in comparison when I hear your story, and like what you went through, and just how your body just feel like it was on fire for a long time,
Oh, yeah.
and you've said too, like at times you've had like just moments where your brain just hurts, and it, you're like caught in a moment where it's not functioning like I needed to, or how you wanted to, and like, I empathize with that, because that's got to be challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But also, you're so courageous and strong to come back from this, and keep building yourself, and stay humble about it, and not be like, woe is me.
Yeah.
And why you, Lord? Like that's not your attitude. You have gratitude.
Yeah, but I'm not going to deny that I went through those.
Right.
I definitely went through those times. I mean, after.
But you decided in the end to have it be a hopeful continuation of the story.
Right.
There's a lot of despair you could have just given into.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
hard.
and that's going to be, you're one of the people that's been pushing me to do, some speaking stuff, which I'm working on, hopefully getting started after the new year. Not hopefully, it is going to start, because the doors
Right.
are already open. It's just stepping through them.
Right.
But that's going to be one of my focuses is, I've been through all of these traumas over the last decade, because that's when the worst of it has happened, is off and on through the last decade. But honestly, I've been dealing with health stuff for as long as I can remember. I mean, the thing that I've had to overcome each step of the way is the hopelessness of it. Because every time that I have dealt with a major health issue, like the first one that almost killed me, I was obviously exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. I was angry, frustrated. Why me? And I didn't have much hope. But then as I would start to get better, that hope would start to come back a little bit. And then I would go on, and I usually would go, a year, maybe 2-3 years before the next thing hit. And then the next thing hit, and it was like double the level of hopelessness, because it's like, well, why bother if it's just going to happen again?
Right.
And after what happened last year, I mean, I was total rock bottom emotionally. I think honestly the only reason why I was putting forth any effort in living is because my mother wouldn't let me not put forth any
Wow.
effort in living,
Yeah.
and because my mom was there, the whole step of the way from when I was in the coma to all of my recovery stuff after all of the physical therapy. Yeah, her and I, we butted heads. We do that. She's my mom. I'm her son. That's
Of course.
that happens. And yeah, there are things that I've said that I have regretted saying to her in my frustrations and
sure.
everything I was dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm sure it goes the other way around
Right.
too. It's that hopelessness that is the biggest impact on our lives. And that's one of the main focuses when I start doing the speaking and I'm sharing more of my testimony is we have to be able to overcome that hopelessness, because you've got happiness, joy, which is literally the greatest emotions to have.
Right.
But when you lose that, you have nothing. You can be angry, you can be sad, but you still have nothing, because you lose that happiness, you lose that joy. It's because you have nothing to live for anymore. There's
You've
no
had that
reason
multiple
to.
times.
Yeah.
You've had experienced that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this last time, like I said, it was the worst, and I still struggle with it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, of course, right?
I've had those moments where I'm like, I still deal with the trauma of everything from last year, and I'm like, I don't want to go through that again. If something like that happens again, don't even bother saving me. Just let me be done.
Wow.
And and there's that battle inside my mind where there's that part of me that's like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care anymore, just let it be done. But then there's that part of me that's like, no, your time will come when God says your time is done.
Right.
And so you're going to keep fighting and pushing until that time does come. And maybe that's sooner than expected. Maybe it's not. Maybe I've been through the worst of it now because it built that foundation for me to help others.
Right. That's how I envision it. That's the only way I picture it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just the thing. Like, yeah, that's a big uphill battle. That's not going to go away.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I learned, especially this last time dealing with the health stuff, is that time is the biggest blessing and most limited blessing that we have. Because we have all this time. We can choose how to experience that time, but we can never get any of it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so what you do with your time defines everything in your life. I could choose to sit and live in a depressive state and let myself fade away into nothing and waste all of that time. Or I can choose to use the blessing of still living and be able to just go out and explode,
Right.
in a positive way.
Right. Isn't it something like, it feels like it's a teeter-totter. Some days stronger than others, right? But like, I just feel like sometimes that sort of life-changing experience you can have, whether it's choosing a path where you're selling yourself short, or opening yourself up to an opportunity and just falling into these doors that open and just trusting God that he's developed a plan for you that fits. Like, that's what I'm kind of working towards, and I feel like this is why I'm so blessed in life at age 45 to have what I feel like is a dream job and a dream company, because I can grow my skills here. I can kind of paint my own Picasso picture of who I see myself being and who's the best version of me, and while being transparent enough where I can kind of be vulnerable, very vulnerable with people. I mean, people have seen me in states of mind here where it's embarrassing to think, oh my gosh, I was gushing and crying, I couldn't gather myself. And that's just what, I've understood that I'm going to give that part of myself to people. And there's not going to be a lot of days like that, but there could be some. And, I need to keep staying on top of how I deal with those emotions. One thing, I've been trying to get back into shape now after really taking 2 decades off
Great.
of taking care of my body. So At the end of the 2 years, like when I first started here, I had smoked for 25 years, right? And I think I quit for like a year and a half or something like that. But when I got hired here, I said to myself, oh my gosh, this place is a wellness clinic where like they're worried about, even the organic section, they're kind of picking apart to say if that's truly gonna, like we really help you with food, especially because food is so personal.
Yeah.
That when you come here and say, hey, no soda allowed, no, you can't bring in a McDonald's, you can't bring Subway, you can't bring that stuff in here. You're not going to do that here. It's natural to be like, oh, I'm going to buck that system. And it's been interesting to see how one thing B Money explained to me was your family and your spouse, you might grow at first a little apart from them when you work here because you're going to adapt to these things because everyone else is doing it around you. And it's good for you.
Right.
So stop saying no to it. It might make you uncomfortable, but that's what I've learned about just being here and being around you guys. I've learned to be uncomfortable and know my body is craving something else and that I can't have those things. For me, it was like my being on Adderall for about 5 years.
Right.
It really ended up messing me up in a while. And it's like, do I crave a pill that I could take that would help me pass the day quicker? Maybe be a little bit more in tune with the work I'm supposed to do? Would it help me focus? I don't know. It doesn't really always work that way.
Right.
But I live in a household where other family members are taking it. So every day I see it, and I'm like, oh, there's that little pill. Wouldn't that be nice? Just go. Right? But I know when I took the stuff, I never wanted to be on it full time. So I only wanted to take it half time. Well, like any drug, you take it half the time, it's really, it's gonna mess with your internal clock. And that's where I was a mess, even just like a year ago. My internal clock and 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. That's what I would be with that medicine. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Week on, 3 weeks off. Riding high for a week or two and then being low.
Right.
And like how my body was responding during those lows was really, oh gosh, I hated feeling like that. And I drink coffee. I've had 3 cups today. I've got my Creative Juices cup here. It's delicious. We drink bubblers.
Yep.
We all love that caffeine fix. Well, why wouldn't you just take a pill for that?
Yeah.
So much easier. It's what my doctor recommends. Oh, you have ADHD? Oh, that's too bad. Let's see if we can get you on something. Like I tricked my doctor because I just had a car accident and at the same time I was getting on medicine. I lied to my doctor saying, oh, I'm really unfocused when really I was concussed. Like you wouldn't believe. Now, I've always been spacey and I have a hard time looking people in the eye. My conversations roll, I ramble.
Right.
I start conversations not knowing where they'll go. Like that's just me. It's always been me. But I totally tricked my doctor when I got on it, and I just said I was having more anxiety than I think focus.
Right.
Because sometimes that line is kind of blurred a little bit. What anxiety can cause you to be unfocused and whatever. Life gets you out of track. A lot of it was just stress related.
Right.
And from owning a business, really. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm really thankful for this place because also playing hoops with Kyle has helped me to focus. It's not just about the exercise, which is helpful, but my body hurts all the time, and I'm kind of learning to deal with chronic pain from that,
Right.
And I haven't got any of my food allergies tested yet, or anything else. So like, there's a lot of testing that I still need to do. That's, whatever. I'll do it on my timetable. I'll get there, right? But I feel like just being here for the both of us has changed us for the better.
Yeah.
And we make a big impact on this company because we get to make the bright, shiny videos and highlight all the doctors and the information and stuff. Like we're part of that media team who I think right now is exploding.
Yeah.
I think we will become a media mogul, and I think we'll be known worldwide. Not that we aren't already, because we are. We have, I can't imagine how many people have seen. Probably millions of people have seen our work
Right.
But I just think as people become more frustrated, we can get, and censorship doesn't help us at all.
No,
It's
it
like
doesn't.
we've been, that's why Doc Flynn is so, I'm so impressed with him, because he doesn't care about censorship. He'll deal with it, but he doesn't, it's like he's not afraid of speaking the truth always. And there's something very noble in that, because I think most people are, there's a very select few of people who are this honest about what's happening. And it's like, all we're doing is educating people.
Yeah.
So why the pushback on educating about yourself?
Yeah, we're just given information.
We're just giving out free information.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But it's one of those, we're here, we're making a difference.
Yeah.
And who knows, it could be long term, it could be short term, it could be for a season, but
Right.
we're going to do the work that we
Right.
can to be there for others, and that's what matters. I know I won't be here for forever, but I'm going to do what I can while I'm here
Yeah.
to make a difference.
See, I'm under the assumption that you can always take Wellness Way with you.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways you can.
I know.
All of the information that we share and everything, this is all stuff that you can learn for yourself.
Right.
It's just putting in the time to do it. And that's part of where we help out, is that we make it a little bit easier to get there.
Right.
So,
Well, I know you have a lot of plans, so you got it, and going to college still.
yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah, if you guys want a
don't
real
stop.
rundown of how busy I actually stay, I work here 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
College student full-time, going for my master's in psychology right now. Probably will still go on for my doctorate after that. I have my business that I'm working on building and structuring. I do freelance consulting work. I help other people with their stuff all the time. And somehow I still find time to play with my puppy and sit back and read some books and enjoy some video games or watching some TV, because that's a whole nother thing. It is not a sin to watch TV, play video games, anything like that. I don't care what
Thank
everybody
you.
says. It is not a waste of time if you were doing it
Right.
responsibly.
Right.